Hello and welcome to the Crochets podcast. This is episode 38 and I'm really happy that you've chosen to spend a little bit of time with me today while I share what I've been working on recently in terms of crochet and knitting. There's a couple of reasons why I chose to film a podcast today. One is that I've just finished a really big crochet project, a commission, and it's probably the biggest one I've ever done. It's top secret still, so I can't share any of it with you for now, but I finished it off yesterday. I've posted it off. I just got the notification on my phone saying that the delivery has arrived at its destination, so that's obviously a relief. And I've really got that sense of kind of resurfacing after having been furiously working really hard on this project for a few weeks, almost not touching anything else at all in terms of crochet. So I've got a real sense of sort of, I can relax again now, coming back up and thinking about what I wanted to do next. And it just felt like the right day to sit and have a chat with you and share the things I've been doing and what I'm going to be working on next. And the other reason is that it is middle of June now, second half of June, and there's only a few weeks until my daughters break up for the summer holidays. The last few weeks of term are always super busy, as I'm sure you know if you've got children as well, with all the end of year stuff, concerts, sports days, performances, lots going on. So I wasn't sure how much time I'd have in the next few weeks, and also over the summer holidays, I always find it a challenge to film when the girls are at home. So I thought I'd get a podcast in today, and then at least that's done. I've got a few lovely things to share with you. I think they're lovely. Not massive, but I thought I'm going to film anyway, otherwise it might be September before I next get around to it. So just have a bit of tea. I'll have a little bit of a chat, I think, before showing you any projects. So in the last episode, if you caught that one, I showed you my Lost in Time shawl that I just finished making with the Lavenderlicious Shapey Swirl in different shades of purple. I'll pop up a picture. I move over a little bit and there'll be more space for it. I'm squeezed in here between the sofa and the dining table. But yeah, I had finished the Lavenderlicious shawl, which I was making to give to my gran for her 100th birthday. She turned 100 in May, which was amazing. So during May half term, we went over to Jersey in the Channel Islands where she lives, and yeah, there was a big family gathering. There was over 40 of us there. So she lives in Jersey. Lots of her children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren do live in Jersey there, so they see her quite often. But yeah, she had 6 children. One was my mum, and my mum moved to England, which is where I've grown up and lived, and one of her brothers also moved to England, so she's got grandchildren and great-grandchildren and children from England as well. So all the family, it was amazing because we hardly ever all get together these days. There were quite a few gatherings, maybe 15 or so years ago when there was some weddings, 10 to 15 years ago, but we've not really had any big family weddings in the last few years. So there's not been a big reason for everybody to get together all at the same time. So it was really wonderful to have everybody there and celebrate my gran's 100th birthday. And I gave her the Lost in Time shawl, which she seemed over the moon with. So that was really special. And yeah, she's used to work in a wool shop, and she's always been into lots of different yarny crafts, knitting. She knitted me jumpers when I was little. She knitted my daughters jumpers when they were little, dolls' clothes. She also crocheted a lot as well, making beautiful doilies, and she did lots of cross stitch and tapestry, all sorts of things like that. And sadly she can't do it anymore, but I think she appreciated the gift of having the shawl, and hopefully it'll just be something nice that she can wear around her shoulders and keep her warm when she goes out in the garden and things like that. So that was a really lovely time in Jersey, and we also got to do some lovely coastal walks while we were there as well. I'll pop a few pictures up, probably. I think I might do them right at the end of the podcast, just do a few pictures of our time there, because if you've not been, it's such a beautiful island, and if you ever get the chance to go, I highly recommend it. So the other news I have is that I don't think I'd started this last time. I think I might have shown you the yarn. I should probably have checked. But I was taking part in a challenge with Hobby, the Hobby Yarn Company, and it's called the Hobby Yarn Hugs Challenge. And the challenge was to create something, I think it had to be a blanket, but something definitely encompassed blanket, something cozy and a hug in some yarn. So I chose to use their Hobby Friends wool, which is an Aran weight wool yarn, and it comes in lots of different colours. I don't have the names of the colours with me. I think this was denim blue or dark denim, something like that. There's definitely a denim in it, and then this is just white. So I chose these, and it's a design kind of inspired, not so much inspired, but sort of following on from almost my Cara blanket, which is a design I did a few years ago now. I think it was during lockdown. And it's a square blanket made in the round with Aran weight yarn, tapestry crochet, and it's got a plain middle and then just a round of hearts around the outside. And I always found, and lots of people told me that it's a nice size for a baby blanket, and I always quite like the simplicity of just having a nice plain middle section and then just a round of some sort of colour work or something around the outside. And it was a concept that I definitely knew I wanted to return to at some point. So when this challenge came up, I tried not to accept all the opportunities with Hobby, because sometimes, even if the yarn's nice, I don't have an idea that immediately springs to mind necessarily for the project of what I'd make with it. So I try to only accept them where perhaps I've got a pre-existing idea of something, a design that I want to make, and if it fits into a challenge, then I go ahead with it. So that way I know that what I create will be something that I'm happy I spent time doing, because it was something I was intending to do anyway, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I took the idea of the Cara blanket, but wanted to change the hearts for something else. And so this time I tried a different shape first. I won't tell you what it is in case I do manage to get it to work, but this time round there was a lot of frogging, and it wasn't really working. So this time I decided to go for clouds. So it's a square blanket with a round of, I used intarsia instead of tapestry, crochet clouds all around the outside. That probably gives you a better idea of how it looks. And they're slightly sort of raised, because I used front post stitches to make the clouds, so they're a bit puffier and raised up compared to the rest of the blanket. And then it's got this sort of squishy ribbed border around the outside as well. So yeah, it's a really soft, snuggly blanket, and it works up really quickly because it's an Aran weight yarn. The beginning, you just start with a simple solid granny square made with treble stitches, UK treble stitches, US double crochet stitches. You just go round and round and round. So that bit's really nice and relaxing and easy. Then you've got a few rounds of intarsia crochet to make the clouds, which needs a bit more counting and concentration, but to be honest, because they're clouds, it's pretty forgiving. So if you did get your stitch count out and your cloud was a slightly different shape, I don't think that would matter. But it's not that hard, and it's nice to have a variety, I find, in crochet projects of easy stuff where you don't have to think, and then other bits which do require a bit more concentration. And I always have a few different projects on the go, so I can kind of pick the one depending on what sort of thing I'm looking for in that moment, whether it's easy, relaxing crochet or something that needs a bit more focus. But yeah, so then there's a few rounds of intarsia to do the clouds, and then you just finish it off and do the border. So it really is quite a quick one to work up, and I think hopefully that makes it quite a good sort of baby gift as well, because sometimes, I mean, I know you do get months notice normally, don't you, when a baby's going to arrive, but sometimes you want a gift that you can just make quite quickly. So I think this would definitely make a good quick baby gift. The pattern is out for testing at the moment. I've got, I think, 6 or 7 people kindly testing it for me and making it in some really beautiful coloured yarn, and I'm quite happy about that. Well, I'm really happy about that, because I thought, because it's clouds, I immediately think, well, clouds in the sky on a blue background is the obvious colour choice. But one of my testers has gone for a kind of a really beautiful pink, maroony pink, slightly variegated yarn, which looks absolutely stunning. And she said she's going for the kind of sunset sky, and I think, yeah, it looks really nice paired with the sort of crisp white as well. There's a couple have gone for a more kind of duck egg shade of blue, which looks really soft and pretty, especially I think for a baby blanket. And someone else is alternating blues and greys, and I think they said they might go into a bit of purple as well as their background colour. I can't remember, to give a kind of stormy sky effect. So I'm really, really happy that people aren't just going for the obvious blue like I did, and yeah, are trying out the design with different colours. So I think that's always one of the most exciting things of being a designer, is that you get to see your ideas worked up in different yarn and different colours, which is, you'd never have time to make all those different colour combinations yourself. So it's a real treat seeing other people work them up. So if you're interested in getting the pattern, it will be released in a few weeks, I think around early July, I'm hoping to release it. So if you want to make sure you don't miss it, do sign up to my email list. I'll pop a link below, and there will be a big discount available on the pattern, which will only be available to my email list subscribers. So yeah, if you want to make sure you get that, also if you just want to stay up to date with any other news and sales from me, I do send out a monthly newsletter sharing what I've been up to and links to different things. Yeah, so if you want to sign up, that would be brilliant. There's a link below. So yeah, do that. And yeah, next time I podcast, whenever that is, the pattern will be out there. So I'll let you know in this podcast too. But you will hear about it sooner if you sign up to the email list rather than waiting for the next podcast. Or you can follow me on Instagram as well. There'll be a link for that below as well. So you can, yeah, it'll be announced there as well. But I know, like, things like Instagram, the people I follow, I don't see all their posts anymore these days. So the sort of safest way to make sure you don't miss it is definitely with the email list. So that's the main, well, the only bit of crochet that I've done that I've got here to actually show you today. Like I say, I've had my head down working on this big crochet project, which I will be able to share with you later this year, but for the moment it's still a secret for now. But yeah, it feels really, I'll be able to talk about it more when it's released, but yeah, I'm really pleased that that's done and happy with how it turned out. So that's all I'm going to say about that for now. So what I have done, so while I was working on that project, initially, because it was a design, while I was working on it, I was writing up the pattern at the same time, and it's a long pattern and there's quite a lot of different elements to it. So it took a while before I got to the point where there was a bit that was sort of big and repetitive enough that I could write the instructions and then just sit and crochet it for ages without having to add anything new to the instructions. So initially in the evenings, I didn't want to be typing up things in the evenings. I was switching and doing a little bit of knitting in the evenings. Then as the project progressed, I got to the point where, especially weaving in ends and stuff like that, I was working on it on the evenings as well. But I have done a bit of knitting, and also these last couple of days now, I finished that project as well. Also partly to just have a change from crocheting, because I was crocheting so intensely. So I've been working on my second, this was the first one which I showed I think a couple of episodes ago. I've been working on my second sock. So this was the first one. This is the book Nook sock, which has got a cable and ribbed pattern. And I've been working on my second one, which is now at the point of the heel. So I've just done this much of the heel. There's a special name for this heel. I meant to check what it was. I'm making these socks, well, with a friend who's finished hers a while ago now, but we started together. Emma from MSC Makes has also made a pair of book Nook socks, although a different variation of the ribbing. There's a few options in the pattern. And she's a very experienced sock knitter, as I'm sure you know, but this type of heel was new to her as well. And she did find out what it was called, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. But anyway, I'm on the heel, and yeah, I'm enjoying this. There's quite a lot of counting and keeping track of what you're doing, because you've got the repeat of the cabling of the ribbing, which is every 6 rows. Then there's an alternating pattern here, because this is garter stitch between knitting and purling, and then keeping track of the increases. So I've got a bit of paper with all these different tallies on it, and trying to keep track of where I am, but it's totally doable. But yeah, it does require a bit of concentration, and making sure at the end of each round I do add a tally so I know exactly where I am each time. But last night I was working on it, and there's a mistake. Where is it? It was near the end of one of the rounds. Yeah, I don't know if you're able to see it because the stitches are quite small, but it's here. That bit is a bit fudged. And I've realised, I think the next thing I need to do with my knitting is learn how to fix mistakes, really, because with crochet it's so easy. If you make a mistake, you just pull the yarn, frog it back and start again. But with knitting, I'm not going to just pull the needles out, because I don't know that I wouldn't be able to, I don't think that's recommended, is it? I wouldn't be able to pick up all the stitches again. And what I'd done here was I think I'd lost count on the ribbing, and I'd also managed to drop a stitch. And so, yeah, this sort of messy bit here is me fudging, picking up the stitch again, sort of, it dropped a few rows down, and so I sort of, don't know, twizzled it in and out on its way up, but I think I've twisted something on the way up. But anyway, it's got the right stitch count again now, and I'm just going to continue, and there's just going to be this blemish there. But I would like to find some tips on what to do when that happens and how to fix it. Maybe, you know, the stitch had dropped 2-3 rows, maybe there's like, you just pin it and undo some rows, but how do you make sure, rather than unknitting stitch by stitch, is there a quicker way, threading something through? I don't know. So on my list of what I'd like to do, or just on a mental list, knitting wise, is to find some tutorials about just fixing mistakes in knitting. So I'm gonna have, when I get a chance, I think I'm gonna have a little look on YouTube, just search for that sort of thing. But if you've got any suggestions of videos or channels that cover that kind of thing, yeah, how to fix mistakes and drop stitches and things like that quickly and easily, what's the best way to do it in knitting, then yeah, do let me know. I'd love to hear. That would be great, because I think that's something I've never really looked into in much detail, and I think I would like to be able to fix my mistakes in knitting better, in a neater way, and perhaps an easier way, and just with a bit more confidence, knowing that whatever it is I'm doing is sensible and the best thing for that project. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. Once I've got past the heel, we'll be on to the foot, and that's much more straightforward again. Just going round and round, less counting. Hopefully I won't make any more mistakes. I mean, there's not masses of mistakes in here. I think that might, I don't know. It's a while since I've worked on it, but yeah, I just made that one last night and thought, yeah, I really should have a look into how to fix my mistakes in knitting. It's really hot today. We're having, I'm not sure if it's classed as a heat wave yet, but it definitely feels like one. We're having some really hot weather at the moment, and it's due to continue for at least a week or so. So I've got the window open here. I've shut it a bit because there's a bit of a noise going on outside, so I hope it's not picking up on the microphone. Someone, I don't know if they're trimming a hedge or something. It's that sort of noise, some sort of power tool noise outside. But it's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's really nice. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying the warm weather at the moment. I think the thing I dislike the most about the warm weather is when it's hot in the evenings and it's hard to go to sleep. But I've had a look at the forecast, and the temperature is still dropping overnight to like 14 or something. So with the windows open, it is cooling down in the evenings. So that's good. I just hope it stays like that. But it is due to get even hotter over the coming weekend and next week. One of my daughters has got her end of year performance school show, and they've got several costume changes and things like that, and it's in the evening, but I think it's still going to be really hot. So I just hope for those 2 evenings it's not too warm for them and they get a bit of a breeze, and then can sleep afterwards, because it's going to be a busy week. And then the following weekend, when it's still hot, my other daughter's doing a Duke of Edinburgh Award expedition. If you're in the UK, you probably know what that is. If you're not, it's basically an award scheme that lots of schools and other organisations run. It's for teenagers, and there's various elements to it. I think there's 4 sections, and one of them is they go on an expedition, and there's different levels of the award: bronze, silver and gold, and as you progress up, the expeditions get longer. But basically they have to carry their tent, their food, their stove, spare clothes, everything that they need as a group, and they have to walk a certain distance, navigating, camp overnight, cook their meals, and yeah, complete their expedition, which I did it when I was a teenager, and I absolutely loved it and had a brilliant time. And yeah, my daughter, she did her practice expedition a few weeks ago, and she went off and she wasn't sure she was going to enjoy it, but she came back, and because she does love walking and being outside in the countryside. I think it was just the sort of format of it being a Duke of Edinburgh expedition. She wasn't sure that whether she'd like it, but she really enjoyed it. And yeah, so hopefully she'll enjoy it, but it's still due to be really, really hot for her final expedition, the one that actually counts. So hopefully it's not too painful for them, because I think the two bad things on that sort of thing are either really hot sunny weather, aren't they, or cold wet weather. You just want it nice and intermediate and in between for that sort of thing. But hopefully she'll still have a good time, and if they get up early in the morning before it gets too hot and try and get as much walking as possible done then that should help as well, I think. Anyway, that's completely not crochet or knitting, isn't it? So yeah, try to get back on track. So I haven't got anything else to show you that I've made, but one of my daughters, my younger daughter, has been doing a little bit of crochet, and she said I could share it with you. So she's been doing a few things. She learnt a while ago the basics, but she's not really made anything. But this year she made a goose, which I think I showed on the podcast, for her sister. And then a couple of weeks ago she decided she wanted to make a small amigurumi toy for one of her friends. So she is making, it's not finished yet, but she's making this polar bear, which is coming on very well indeed. I think when you start with the head, and it's quite big, and so I think you imagine the body and the legs and everything would be much bigger, but actually the design, as you can see, this is the body, it's smaller. I think it will look more sensible once you add the arms and legs. But yeah, she's done really well with it. She's 11. She's not done masses, but she did it all by herself, and all the sewing and everything. A couple of pointers from me, but not much really at all. Yeah, she did really well. So it's a polar bear pattern. Who's it by? Storyland Ami. AMIS. I guess it means ami, like friends in French. Yeah, I'll pop a link to it below if I can find it again. I probably can, if you're interested. But yeah, so she's been making that. So that's other yarny stuff that's been going on in our house recently. Other news. There's one other thing I was going to tell you about, in case you're interested, which was that about a week and a half ago now, I published a new blog post where I'd contacted several different crochet designers of crochet blanket patterns, and asked them to describe how they choose colours for their crochet blankets, because it's something I always wonder about and think a lot about as well. And I think it's always nice to have new tips, isn't it? And I know it's a question that a lot of people wonder: how do you choose colours for your crochet blankets? So I thought it'd be great to hear lots of different perspectives on how different designers come up with their colour palettes and how they choose them. So I contacted a whole bunch of designers and asked if they'd like to be involved, and lots of them said yes, they'd love to. So that was brilliant to get such a positive response, because you never know when you send a question like that out there to people, whether or not they'll be interested or if they've got time. So it was lovely to get such a positive response from so many of them. And what was really interesting was that you'd think that perhaps there'd be a lot of repetition and people saying the same things, but there wasn't at all. There's 12 different designers that explained and are in this blog post saying how they choose colours for their blankets, and they all, there might be a little bit of overlap, but on the whole they're all completely different. So it was really fascinating pulling it all together and finding out how they all come up with their colour palettes, and some of them had ways that I'd never thought of before. So if you're interested and would like to have a read of that, if that sounds like something you might be interested in, I'll pop a link to that blog post below as well, and you can find out about how 12 different designers, crochet designers of crochet blanket patterns, choose their colours for their crochet blankets and how they come up with their colour palettes. So yeah, I'll pop a link to that. And yeah, so since I've just finished this big project, as I keep telling you, I've been thinking about what I want to make next. I've got well, a few sort of whips that I'm not really sure whether they're going anywhere or if I want to continue with them or not. Things I've sort of started off as kind of trials. So I need to have a think about that really, and whether they're things that are just going to stay like that and not really a finished item, or if they're going to develop and turn into a full project. I've also got earlier this year I started making Attic 24's Canal boat blanket, which I have shown on here at least once earlier in the year, if you saw that. And that's about halfway. I'm not doing it in her colour palette. I decided to do it as a stash busting project. So I'm really keen to finish that off. However, because it's a blanket made in rows, that means that of course you've got to sit under the whole thing while you're working on it. So right now, with it being so hot, I think for at least the next week and a half, it's not really so appealing to work on. So I've got the sock to finish off, but I'm also thinking about other projects I might like to do, and I might start, I am really tempted, I've got quite a lot of DK yarn in my stash at the moment. Some of it I'm going to give to a friend who said she'd be very happy to take it off my hands. Quite a lot of it is yarn that I've been given in working on this commission that I just finished, different colours to try out and things like that. Not all of it got used in the final project, so yeah, some of it I'm going to give away, but some of it I think I'm going to remake or make another Superstars blanket, which is one of my very earliest designs, but it's one that I really like, and I'd really like to make it again in other colours. So I might do that as a stash busting project. Starting it, obviously it would be cooler, but it is a join as you go. It's made of hexagons, and it is a join as you go blanket. So it's the same issue really as a blanket made in rows, in that as it gets bigger it will get hotter. But I could start it, and while it's not too big, that would be fine. The only question I have on that to myself is whether I go for, in the original design, the background colour is all cream, and if I want a constant background colour for the whole blanket, then I would have to buy some more yarn for that, because I probably only got one ball, possibly two, of any colour. All my stash is different colours. The other option is to just go for a variety perhaps of pale or neutral colours for the background, and then have darker or brighter colours for the stars. So I might do that, and then it would be a complete stash busting project. Perhaps have two bags, one of light background, one of darker star colours, and then I can just pick a ball from each bag each time I make a hexagon and work through them like that maybe. I think I might do that because I don't really want to buy more yarn when I've got so much at the moment. So yeah, there's the Superstars project, and I've got a couple of new ideas for blanket designs that needs, I've made a swatch for one of them, but it needs tweaking. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, it's just, it's nice having moments in all your making where you feel like you can really stop and think about what it is you want to make, I've got some yarn I bought a while ago, some hand-dyed yarn from Lay Family Yarns. It was the Wonderland Walk yarn, which was dyed by, it's a colourway that was come up by Ali from Little Drops of Wonderful, and it's a really lovely rich green. I've got 2 skeins of that. I started making a while ago a big triangular shawl with it of my own design, but I'm not happy with how that's working up. So there's another shawl that I really want to make by Lilla Bjorn Crochet. Can't remember what it's called now, but it's a really nice, it's relatively new. I think she only released it in the last year or so, but it's a really nice textured one. So I'm thinking I might frog what I've done on that, which is a very small amount, and work on and make that shawl as well. So I've got lots of ideas, but I don't want to dive in too quickly. I just want to take my time and decide what's the best one to work on next over the summer, and yeah, kind of make some strategic plans for the coming months, because you always have to think a season or so ahead, don't you, when you're working on projects and when you want things finished. After this sock's finished, I've got another knitting project that I started earlier in this year for an Aran weight slip over sleeveless jumper, which I've started. I need to watch some tutorials for how to do the next bit, because it's something that I've never done before. So that's on hold, and also because I've been working on the socks as my knitting project. So that'd be nice to pick that up again and have that ready, done for the autumn, I think, for September, October time to wear. So I should think about doing that. But otherwise, yeah, that's it from me today. So yeah, sorry, well, there's not masses to show, but I did want to just pop on and have a little catch up with you and chat to you all, and hopefully I will make it back to do another podcast at some point over the summer holidays, because I'm sure I will have other things to show you. I've got that reminds me, I've just agreed to do a pattern test for a friend as well. I haven't got the pattern for it yet, but I'll be testing some squares for a new baby blanket design for that, which I'm really looking forward to doing. Yeah, so hopefully I'll film a podcast over the summer. If not, like I said, you can always sign up to my email list. There will definitely be newsletters still coming out over the summer, and pattern release news, and you're welcome to follow me on Instagram as well. But yeah, have a really lovely summer or winter if you're in the southern hemisphere, and do drop a comment and say hi, where you're watching from, what you're working on. It'd be lovely to hear from you, and take care, and until next time, have lots of lovely crafting and crochet time. Bye bye.